Negro Americans, we have listened to your apish cries. We have seen you marching in the streets for justice. It was very annoying. And so, we have erected this statue of George Floyd and named some streets after him. Because if the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught us anything, it's that is the right thing to do after you kill a black person. We have also made June 10th, a holiday, so that everyone can benefit from the suffering of your ancestors, as is the great American tradition. Because we want to show you that we are willing to do anything to end racial injustice in this country. Yes, you. How about some policy change? Oh, no, not that. Anything but that. So, we good?
So you're an anarchist. You think that hierarchies are unjust and should be abolished, and that society should be organized in some sort of form where everything we do is completely voluntary and free of coercion. Yeah, exactly. So like bosses or landlords, those are bad and you want to get rid of them, right? No.
I think is a punk discourse worth having on this app, anti-communist punks. Why are you anti-working class, bro? You're basically anti-punk. You're probably white, you're probably rich, so like, fuck you. Like, the fuck are you doing?
My dad applied for his citizenship before I was born, in 2001. I turn 21 next year, and I only have until then to be able to qualify to get my papers along with my parents before I turn 21. And lawyers are telling us that it's actually going to take between 1.5 years to 2.5 years more. I'm more than likely not going to be able to qualify anymore. We're told that we should wait, that we should do it the right way. Before we came here, we lived in a colonia called Riberas del Bravo. Just a year after we left that colonia to come here to the United States, dead bodies started showing up everywhere. To this day, it's known as one of the worst colonias in my home city in Juarez. My family and I would have had a very good chance of being killed if we would have stayed in Mexico. We're told that the time, patience, and money that it takes to come here the right way is all going to be worth it at the end of the day. But the fact of the matter is that all of those are actually privileges that a lot of the working class of Latin America don't have. Why do you think the majority of the Republican Latinos who came here the right way are white?
Just last night, Israel began bombing Gaza again. This is one of the pictures from last night. On Tuesday, far-right Israelis were marching throughout East Jerusalem, chanting death to Arabs. During that march, 17 Palestinians were arrested, while settlers saw nothing done to them. After this happened, Israel began claiming that Palestinians were sending balloons with bombs into Israel. I'm not gonna lie, these claims came from security sources and witnesses. So I'm gonna pull the same fucking card that Zionists pull all the time. Where's the proof? But let's say that it happened. Let's say that balloons with bombs were actually sent into southern Israel. They didn't kill anybody. So what exactly justified this? And here's a video of the bombings happening in real time.
Princess Carolyn, look! I met John Stamos.
That is not John Stamos!
Hey, Princess Carolyn, John Stamos and I got our ears pierced.
That is not your ear!
Princess Carolyn, John Stamos died. Why?
Another thing about capitalism and capitalist urban planning that I absolutely hate is how you are literally not even allowed to exist in public without having to pay for something. Literally a constant reminder that you live under capitalism. Like, there is no escaping. There's like 3 places that you can exist peacefully without having to pay for something or getting slapped with a loitering charge. And that's like the park, the library, and that's kind of it. Even the most fervent capitalist defender, like, I don't understand how you can defend all this. It is expensive to be alive under capitalism. You can't escape capitalism outside. You also can't escape capitalism inside. The whole year that we've been locked inside, what is the #1 way that you occupy yourself? It's social media. It's using electronics. Electronics that have been specifically designed to either make you spend money or indoctrinate you further into capitalistic thinking.
up, and for what? How about y'all unanimously pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act? How about y'all unanimously eliminate qualified immunity? How about y'all unanimously pass the For the People Act, a bill that's designed to expand voting rights that many people on the right have been trying to take away? How about y'all unanimously pass that? There are so many substantive bills that could have been passed that really could have helped black people in this country, and instead they passed this. Miss me with the bullshit.
Autistic opinion of the day. Society as a whole is completely fine saying that people should be able to die if they cannot support themselves. Homeless people, anyone who is addicted to drugs, anyone who is unable to get a job because of compromising positions or people that they may be. Trying to be subtle with this one. But the minute you say you hope someone dies, that's wrong. I say that I hope that Jeff Bezos gets hit by a car and suddenly every adult in the room is like, oh, don't wish harm upon another person. So are you telling me that the difference between wishing someone would die and just letting someone die is that you can't say it? Is it like a no speak, no tell rule?
This video isn't meant to deter anybody or disencourage anybody, but I feel like it's a much needed reminder, especially for myself and for other activists and allies. Our fight to dismantle white supremacy will not end in our lifetime. This fight is multi-generational. We are in the age of instant gratification, and unfortunately that is something that is not applicable to the fight that we have ahead of us. We are planting seeds for a garden we will not see. We are ancestors today, and the actions that we take today impact our future generations. Activism is not a trend, it's a lifestyle. So whatever steps you're taking to protest white supremacy or the patriarchy, whether it be speaking out or just existing, I am proud of you. And our future generations look up to you. They look up to us.
Pull up to the party with a chopper. You gon' dance if I let this go. I'll be cooking up when I rap, so don't get popped like Crisco.
Alright, that's
Yo, bro, you next. Spit some shit. Why would you ask me?
I should die.
Come on.
No, I didn't say neoliberals, I said white people, and I said white people for a reason. I am sick to death of white leftists acting like they are not guilty of the exact same shit that white neoliberals do. I am sick of it. Because not only do white leftists microaggress me and perpetuate racist ideas just as frequently as any other white person, but there's like an extra level of kickback when you call them out on it. Because white leftists will then immediately come back at you with, well, I don't understand why you're attacking me instead of blaming the system. Because white leftists have the most intense and insane white savior complex I have ever seen in my life. Y'all think that just because you're leftists and you're on the right side of history, that means you can't be critiqued. No, absolutely you can and you will be. I had a friend who was a white leftist. That's pretty much their entire Twitter page is white leftist takes. And I once DM'd them to be like, I think this take is off and actually kind of racist. And you know what they did? They blocked me. After a year of using me for emotional support, I asked them to check their privilege once and they blocked.
So I know that everybody expects Native Americans to be like so peaceful and shit, but I'm not about to be peaceful about this because these are children. These are children. If somebody won't speak up for them, then I will. 105 more Native American children's bodies were found in a mass unmarked grave at a residential school. And surprise, surprise, as if we don't already know the horrible shit that this government has done to Native Americans and continues to do, they are hiding this. These were children. Children. When we go to school, we get to leave. These children were not only forced to go there, they died there. And they didn't even so much as get the respect of having graves. And I want y'all to think about this for a second. Many people who went to these schools are still alive. And many of the people who lost people at these schools are still alive.
Believe it or not, Eraserhead is my most spiritual film.
Elaborate on that.
No, I won't.
I really feel that part of the reason I've been turned off to the Western understanding of gender is that it's conceptualizing the fact that Our understanding of the gender binary was probably crafted by somebody named John, Benjamin, Richard. And I'm supposed to make that what? My reality and way of life? Please.
No, because tell me why I had to learn that Jeff Bezos is going to space from a Love Wins Tumblr post. Okay, but actually, are we going to talk about the fact that we're currently at the level of wealth disparity where most Americans can't afford to go to the hospital, and yet billionaires are having their own space race? Can we possibly concede that capitalism may have failed the human race when we have not one, but two ultra-wealthy billionaire monopoly owners who are going to be polluting the areas of low-income communities and countries with their junk rockets? Or could we possibly even ponder upon the fact that the federal government literally jumps at the opportunity to give subsidies to knock off NASA and corporate monopolies, and yet they won't spend a penny to make your life better?
Something that really bothers me about white leftists, white liberals, white allies, whatever, all of you in the same group at this point, is that y'all will say that you can't reform or try to like talk to your relatives who have like racist views, but then y'all will get on Omegle and try to dunk on white conservatives about the theories that you've read on theoriesfordummies.com. So how does that work? Because I feel like you're putting your energy in the wrong place. You should be, targeting that energy towards your white racist family members. That's where your energy should be going. But y'all are here on Omegle doing nonsense. And then y'all will have the audacity, the gall, the balls to say that you're tired after posting one infographic. It's because you're wasting your energy on the wrong thing.
Shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of y'all hoes. I wish I could just come through the screen and punch all.
This is my impression of dating apps trying to make it sound like they're gender inclusive when they're actually not. Here at Tinder, we love trans people, so in order to provide you with the best experience, we would kindly ask you to answer a few questions so we may better serve you. Question number 1. What is your gender identity? Oh, you're non-binary? Cool. Question number 2. Now what are you actually? Because nobody really gives a fuck.
Life and death and love and birth and peace and war on the planet Earth. Is there any...
Okay, so the situation here is person has PTSD. Those PTSD symptoms happen to be triggered by a certain sound. That certain sound also happens to be something that car people like to do for fun, especially men who are car people. And just from anecdotes I read, something that men do to annoy women on the street. And I think in any hypothetical situation, if you took any person with PTSD and they heard a sound that was part of one of their PTSD triggers, it would make them upset, right? It would make sense for them to be really upset about it. And in this specific case, the person happened to make a video about that situation, implying that the situation made them feel pretty shitty, which makes sense, right? Now, what I don't understand is, like, how visceral the reaction was to that video, to the point where the person who made that video was, like, getting threatened by people, and people were in the comments like, oh, you want trigger warnings on cars? Like, huh?
Don't die while there's still life inside of you. Live now. There's plenty of time to die later. Hashtag speaking from the heart, B. Fletcher.
My name is Sasheen Littlefeather. I'm Apache.
Sasheen Littlefeather is mostly known for making an acceptance speech on behalf of Marlon Brando, who rejected the Oscar in 1973. At the first broadcasted all over the world Oscars, she stood on the stage forbidden to read Brando's 8 pages long speech, and so she was forced to improvise. She brought to the light the poor treatment of Native Americans in the film industry. That caused a massive uproar of the audience that was half applauding, half booing. It was indeed a big time for Western movies and John Wayne, an on-screen serial slaughterer of Native Americans. Thus, she had to pay a price for her insubordination. She has been blacklisted from the film industry and never worked again. And this is a story about the first woman of color and the first indigenous woman to make a political statement at the Academy Awards ceremony.
Do you guys notice that even when cartoon characters are supposed to be non-human, there's something about the main character that reads as white? Even when the characters are like animals, the main character has to be a lighter skinned animal. Even if the characters are human, but there is something alien about their universe, like in the cartoon Doug, where everybody has a different skin color. You could have purple skin, you could have blue skin, you could have green skin. The main character, Doug, has white skin. I just thought that was really funny and also racist.
White people, and just anyone who needs to hear this, I want you to think for a second. I'm trying to give you advice. I know you're thinking, I should post this, I should post it. But you know what else you should be thinking? In a couple days, in a couple videos, when people stitch your video and they click on your username, is it going to say video not available? If the answer is yes, don't post it. Because y'all just be saying stupid ass stuff on this app. And you're like, I said what I said, until you get attacked. And they're like, oh, I would just like to apologize to the blank community. I thought it was I said what I said. But that's just my advice, though. At the end of the day, hagas lo que te dé la gana, but don't say I didn't warn you.
I think I figured it out. I think I figured out why white leftists are so fucking insufferable. They heard the phrase, we are all oppressed under capitalism, and they just fucking ran with it. Like, yeah, no shit. We figured that out a long fucking time ago. But they were really like, if we get rid of capitalism, that's it, the world will be perfect. Because capitalism is literally the only thing of like oppressing these motherfuckers. Meanwhile, like us brown folk, we're like, hey, like getting rid of that is like, that's a start. But like white supremacy can still very much thrive even if capitalism isn't there. Like even Marx was like, hey, by the way, this is like a working theory. It's gonna need change over time. And also, it's literally just a start. There's going to be so much more work that needs to be done once we get rid of capitalism. It's literally just a start. And white leftists think like communism. They're like, that'll fix the problem. Anyways, white leftists are weird.
Crollo so hard. And then this is Crollo.
Y'all know why it looks like that.
Oh, you don't like that? Or do you just not like me?
The Lewinsky scandal. Have you seen this? President Bill Clinton had a torrid affair. The First Lady was right there. Highlights! The charge against him is connections with one Miss Lewinsky for purposes of sexual relations. He testified that he never touched that woman, but he lied. Miss Clinton stood there with a smile, pushed that betrayal to the side. Damn! He had 9 whole meetings with her. All of them at his own house. At his own house? In the White House? Mrs. Clinton was present in the White House for 7 of those occasions. No. Boo. Have you seen he was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives. He was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives. He was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives. That's one less Clinton to worry about. That's one less scandal to worry about.
You ever notice that kids under the age of 18 who work are forced to pay taxes?
Funny enough, you could blame that on women. Back in the 1920s or
You live on stolen land. That is the #1 thing to acknowledge and remember as an ally to Indigenous people of the Americas. Especially if you live in North America or South America, you are directly benefiting from the genocide of Indigenous people. Native-land.ca is a great resource to learn what stolen land you live on. I live on occupied Yamhill and Kalapuya land, also known as Oregon. Decolonize your history. If you've learned anything from school about Indigenous people, more likely than not it has been watered down and whitewashed on purpose because the government does not want you to know about Native American genocide. But there are a lot of resources online, especially look for ones that have been written by Indigenous people. 1491 by Charles C. Mann is a book I haven't read yet, but I've heard that it is good.
along with An Indigenous People's History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. Again, I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about it. Of course, always do your own research and find your own resources. Educating yourself on history that colonizers do not want you to know is the best step of decolonizing. Also, understand what terms are okay and not okay. Indigenous, Native American, Native, those are all terms that are okay to refer to Indigenous people, but I highly recommend asking each individual what their preference is, especially ask them what tribe they're from, what nation they're from, because we are not a monolith, no two cultures are the same, we span 2 whole continents, so I really hope nobody needs this reminder, but do not use slurs like savage, chug, redskin, Eskimo. Yes, Eskimo is a slur. Some people are okay with the term Indian, some people are not, so use that term lightly or don't use it at all. Stay up to date about issues that are impacting Indigenous people today. I have videos about Line 3, the Willow Project, Giant Mine. The list goes on because our genocide is ongoing. Intersectionality is Indigenous rights. This means Black Lives Matter, pro-LGBTQ2S, and anti-patriarchy. All of that fun stuff. It's important to remember that activism is a lifestyle, it's not a trend. Being a good ally means listening, learning, and speaking out when need be. Don't tone police or speak over Indigenous people about Indigenous issues. Wear a mask and get vaccinated if you can. COVID-19 impacts Indigenous communities at higher rates than any other race, so stopping the spread of COVID-19 is saving Indigenous lives. Leave any questions that you have below and I'll try to answer them.
This made me think of something, and I want to show you guys something that I find really disturbing. This is the college that I currently attend. This is one of our most iconic buildings. It's the chapel. It's what you see right when you drive into the school. Now, if you're from California or you know California history, you'll probably notice something about the style of that building, and that is that the style of the building is the Spanish mission style of architecture. Our entire college campus, including new buildings built within the last 20-30 years, are all in this style. My college loves to preach inclusivity and justice to all people, but their entire school is styled after a system that basically murdered Indigenous people. I've not once heard the college talk about it. I haven't really heard anybody else mention it, and it's something that pisses me off to this day.
Sorry, I'm an anti-romantic. 달아나고 싶어져 멀리.
I really don't have the time or the energy to teach a class on political ideology to everybody who doesn't understand it in the comments. And frankly, anarchy is something that people don't research or study on an academic or actionable political level. And the only thing they think of anarchy is Antifa. So instead of having to explain that everything that people have learned about anarchy is incorrect and that they actually have no idea what they're talking about, it's a little easier to say communist because we're currently in a capitalist system. And the horrible truth of anarchy is actually reminiscent of phase 1 of Marxist communism. So it has the same goal under the current society.
I'm so anti-robot now. I know future generations are gonna hate me. Even older people now roll their eyes at me where I'm I don't fuck with Alexa! I don't fuck with her! She's frightening! And old people will be like, ugh. Calm down. No! I won't. I will not. Alexa has no empathy. She feels nothing. She will kill me. And it's not because I'm one of those people who's what if it's listening to me? I don't care if she's listening to me. I provoke her. If I'm in a house with an Alexa, I will walk in and be like, Alexa, I hate you. So she knows that I'm a threat. She knows that I don't fuck with her. That's also because I'm an honest person. I don't want her to think we're on good terms if we're not. She needs to know that I hate her. I don't know what I think she's going to do to me. She's just going to hurt me.
So I'm coming on TikTok to talk about something that's really important. A lot of you guys know that recently residential schools have been being searched, and something around 500 children have been found at only 4 schools so far. And our community doesn't really have the time to heal because right now we're still protesting pipelines. Currently, Line 3 is going through Ojibwe or Anishinaabe land. Water defenders and land defenders have gotten together to protest this pipeline, but they're in need of more than just that. My friend Guaden on TikTok or Northwind has some really good information on their page that you should check out and interact with. But I'm going to also be linking some Instagrams that you need to check out, as well as a way for you guys to directly financially help those who are protesting. See, this isn't like your normal protest. When you protest something like this, you actually have to camp out. So a lot of people are in need of supplies. Learn what pipelines do to native land, learn about our treaty rights, and most importantly, do something about it.
All right, a big thing for me is pedophilia. I don't like it. So man shall not lay with child, all right? We get that? Yeah. Change that to man shall not lay with man, all right? Yeah, we got you, Jesus. Right on you.
I'm sorry, today was literally just so fucking crazy to me. I cannot believe I have people beefing with me, literally beefing with me over the concept that being like this, I'm a white person. I'm telling you, another white person, to listen to black people about black issues. Wow, me as another white person, that's good to hear, and people should be telling each other that more often. It is fine, that's fine, right? But then this, hi, I as a white person am telling you that you should be listening to black people about black issues. Well, I'm actually black, so. Well, your username was white. Is weird. Like, how are people fucking fighting with me over this? How are people not understanding that it's not the concept of telling people to listen to black people that's the problem? It's the fact that you're telling a black person to listen to black people about their own issues and then getting mad when they're like, I'm literally black, and being like, you had a white username. How is this not? Oh my god, everyone in here has one brain cell. One. Just one.
Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. I'm just in a silly, goofy mood.
Here's a list of my leftist red flag. This may be controversial to some of y'all vosh white American guys, but just hear me out. First, pretty high on the list is leftists who are like explicitly anti-theist. Leftists who believe that religion is inherently incompatible with leftism or communism. Because a lot of marginalized people who are colonized and require liberation are religious. And religion isn't just going to wither away with the state. Next is leftists who refuse to read, which is very, very common. Reiterating also leftists who refuse to learn about land back, settler colonialism. Obviously leftists who are terminally online and do not do anything in the real world. This one is kind of more rare, but leftists who have that like solitariat aesthetic, because oftentimes they are fatphobic, which is a huge issue. Cishet leftists who know little to nothing about queer liberation. I guess just in general, try to be well-rounded with the theory that you interact with.
Bonjour, Giwaden Indigenikas. Hello, my name is Northwind. This video is an update and an urgent call to action. Right now, my people's treaty rights are being violated as you're watching this video, specifically the 1855 Treaty and the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. In the first part of the video, you can see a prayer lodge situated on the banks of the Mississippi in between the 2 work sites. This lodge has been there long before construction, and Enbridge and Minnesota law enforcement are planning on ripping down the lodge and the trees surrounding it. They have no jurisdiction there. Treaties are the supreme law of the land as stated in the U.S. Constitution. Anishinaabe women are calling for land defenders and water protectors to come and stand on the front lines to protect what is sacred. In my bio, there's a link tree that'll bring you to a page with briefings and a map of camps situated along the pipeline route. As long as tar sands isn't running through that pipe, we can still stop Line 3.
I swear I'm gonna find your weak point and bring you down!
I have a name, you know. It's Tanjiro Kamado.
All right, Gunpachiro Kamapoko. I'm gonna bring you down! Who are you talking about? You, of course! No, you're not!
So this is Joe Biden's new anti-terrorism initiative. Something that's really interesting about this whole thing is that anarchists are considered violent extremists if they oppose capitalism, corporate globalism, and governing institutions, which are perceived as harmful to society. But if we look at military violent extremists, they would have to want to violently overthrow or resist the federal government. So it seems like if you're anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, that you would be considered a domestic violent extremist by the standards of Joe Biden and his anti-terrorism initiative. And I hope this reminds you that the lesser of two evils is still evil, and that neoliberal politics fears the left just as it fears the right, even more so probably of the left.
CEO, entrepreneur, born in 1964, Jeffrey Bay.
If y'all care about activism and protecting our right to vote, this is really important. Right now, it's up to the Senate of the US to pass something called the For the People Act. This is something that will stop barriers put in place to prevent black, brown, young, and disabled people from voting. It will expand opportunities to vote by mail. It will require states to offer online voter registration, establish criminal penalties for voter intimidation, give more protections for military and overseas voters. Like I said, this is up to the Senate. So what you can do is call 888-453-3211 to connect to your senators and demand that they pass the For the People Act. Or if you're too scared or lazy to do that, then at least like and share this video.
Oh, hey, I just got back from the gender-neutral bathroom. I love this place, too. I heard they pay their workers a livable wage. Yeah, life's hard, especially with the fallacy of the American dream, am I right? I told you I don't like broccoli, just like I don't like Fox News. Black Lives Matter.
Stop fetishizing and infantilizing people with disabilities, a conversation we need to have. To infantilize is to treat someone as a child or deny them of their maturity and experiences. Fetishization is pretty self-explanatory, with being the irrational and excessive obsession or commitment to someone or something. Now, what is the infantilization of disability? It's the treatment and belief that a disabled person is cute, holds more youth, not being the age that they are. Inspiration has been fetishized over the years to display disabled people doing simple tasks, encouraging the able-bodied person to see, hey, if they can do it, I can do it too. While at the same time, able-bodied people infantilize disabled people with diminishing their person to a childlike state. Both of these things are rooted in ableism, which derives from racism. People of color with disabilities, such as myself, experience something called intersectionality. That's a conversation I'd like to hold a little bit later. When the two are working hand in hand, infantilization and fetishization, recognize that this is another example of predatory behavior. Those who fetishize and have a sexual attraction to people with disabilities claim to be called devotees. One of many internal conflicts that people with disabilities experience is the idea they cannot escape their childlike capacities that have been placed on them by society. A modern example of infantilizing and fetishization is leaving comments on somebody's video and limiting your expectations of their capabilities. It's about time we hold a place for people with disabilities to discuss their feelings and experiences. Please do further research on this and unlearn the ableism that you have been practiced in. To put it into TikTok terms, stop normalizing ableism. Able-bodied people stop gaslighting disabled people, and disabled people get to gatekeep their experiences and feelings. To my friends with disabilities, it's time we speak up.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on the Ritz.
I think the best thing about capitalism is that by virtue of just existing here, I've probably indirectly ruined thousands of lives. So.
Wow! I can't believe we're finally opening the mansion gates. Grandpa Zuckerberg will let the people eat today. But the serving drones might taste them if they get close to the Monet. Grandpa, we'll scan them for their data today. Wow! Wow! Come on, Alexa, let's go! Alexa, look at all these normal people scurrying to their jobs, doing normal normal stuff. Alexa, I'm different, let's do something bigger. Live on a space station with Omega Musk.
They say that he's a monster for exploiting preteens. But how could he be monstrous if he's posting memes?
Alexa.
Now look at this.
I'm gay. Stay back. Careful, master. That man is gay.
He's warning us to stay away.
Hey, don't be afraid, queer.